You know how America always says it fights for freedom? Well, in the 1960s, it picked the worst place on earth to prove it, Vietnam. At first, President John F. Kennedy didn't want a big war. He just sent a few advisors. That's how every disaster starts, just a few. But before he could decide what to do next, Dallas, 1963. The motorcade, the shot, the silence. Kennedy's gone. And suddenly, the world changed. The new president, Lyndon B. Johnson, inherits the job, and a messy little war. He decides to go all in because he doesn't want to look weak against the Soviets. He calls it defending democracy. Vietnam calls it Tuesday. Then came the Gulf of Tonkin incident. America said its ships were attacked. Later, people weren't even sure it really happened. But it didn't matter. That one story opened the door to 10 years of chaos. By 1965, American troops were everywhere. Helicopters filled the skies, jungles were on fire, and generals promised victory any day now. They dropped more bombs on Vietnam than in the entire World War II, and still couldn't tell who was a friend and who was an enemy. The plan was simple. Kill enough of the bad guys, and they'll quit. Except, no one told the Vietnamese. They didn't quit. They just hid, fought back, and waited. Back home, the news showed the real story. Burning villages, soldiers crying, families watching their sons leave and come back in flags. The country that built the television was now watching its own heartbreak every night. Then came 1968, the Tet Offensive. The North Vietnamese attacked cities all over the South, even the U.S. Embassy in Saigon. Technically, America won the battle, but lost the belief that it could win the war. President Johnson knew it too. He went on TV and said he wouldn't run for re-election. That's political talk for, I give up. Next came Richard Nixon, promising something called peace with honor. Sounds nice, right? But it really meant bomb more, then leave. He even bombed neighboring Cambodia, then acted surprised when protests exploded back home. At Kent State University, students were protesting the war. The National Guard opened fire. 4 young Americans died in America because of a war in Asia. Then came the truth bomb, the Pentagon Papers. Leaked documents proved the government had been lying for years. America didn't just lose a war, it lost trust. In 1975, the war finally came to an end. The North took over the South, and Saigon fell. Helicopters lifted people off the U.S. Embassy roof in panic. The world's most powerful country, running for the exit. After 20 years, billions of dollars and millions of lives, Vietnam stood, and America left. But the Cold War didn't stop there. It just changed scenes. While America was licking its wounds, the Soviet Union was tightening its grip on Europe. Nikita Khrushchev was out, replaced by Leonid Brezhnev, a man who smiled less and invaded more. Then came Czechoslovakia, 1968. A leader named Alexander Dubček tried something brave. He promised socialism with a human face. He allowed people to speak freely, write freely, and even dream freely. For a few months, Prague felt alive. Music, art, laughter, hope. But Moscow didn't like hope. Hope spreads. If Prague got freedom, maybe Poland would ask for it next, then East Germany, then who knows. So in August 1968, Brezhnev sent in the tanks. Thousands of them. They rolled into Prague like thunder. Citizens stood in front of them holding flowers. Some soldiers cried, others followed orders. Dubček was arrested and forced to take it all back. The Prague Spring, the short season of freedom, was crushed under Soviet tracks. And once again, both sides looked at each other across the world. Tired, broken, but still pretending to be strong. In America, Kennedy to Johnson, to Nixon to Ford. 4 presidents, one endless war. In the Soviet Union, Khrushchev to Brezhnev. One lost his temper, the other lost his soul. By the early 1970s, everyone was exhausted. So they tried something new. Talking. They called it détente. Fancy word for, let's chill before we blow up the planet. Leaders met, smiled for cameras, signed peace papers. They promised fewer nukes, more handshakes. And for a while, it looked calm. But don't let the smiles fool you. Both sides were just catching their breath for the next round. Because the Cold War never really went cold. It just waited. And next time, that waiting will explode again. In the mountains of Afghanistan, under the shadow of a new American president, Ronald Reagan and his dream of lasers in space. But that's a story for next episode. Stay tuned.